All right, y'all. I know I was rough with Marvel last week, but they proved that they can put out some good quality this week in DC as well. I read 17 books from the big two over the weekend, and I can't wait to talk about them with you. Howdy, howdy, I'm American Texan, and I love comic books, specifically reading comic books and enjoying the art inside. We'll let other channels deal with the drama and all the stupid things that creators say. We're here for the storytelling, and I'm reading books or reviewing books that I read the week of February 25th, which, man, the last Wednesday of the month is just killer because so many of the books that I'm pulling all come out at once. So in order to keep a schedule, I pumped these out, reading them over the weekend. Thankfully, my wife was out of town, so when the kids were napping or after bedtime, I had plenty of me time to really pass through these. So I've got 6 Marvel books and a trade that I read, and I have 11 DC books, including these 2 giant things here, which I will get to whether or not I enjoyed them. And it is March 1st at the time of recording this. The 100 subscriber giveaway is complete. We had over 100 subscribers in the month, and I am so thankful for every one of you. I will be going through and choosing a winner, choosing a random video, and then choosing a random comment that said free 100, and I will reply to your comment with instructions on how to claim that, and I'll have the final everything that's going to go in that package. But thank you all for subscribing. Please, let's keep the numbers up. Let's do something special for 200. But for right now, let's go over to the table and let's talk the big 2. All right, so let's get into it. We've got 6 books from Marvel and a trade. I did get to read Hulk Trade Volume 2. But let's go through the floppies first, starting with The Punisher, Benjamin Percy, and new illustrator here, Jose Luis Suarez. And wow, this was great. A return, almost like a return to Punisher. Continuing Punisher Red Band. He's here. He's frank. He's wild. He's got no passion, no mercy. He's just ready to kick some bad guy booty. And so let me tell you, this is fantastic. It's a great start to the series. Continuation of the Red Band stuff. We get the return of a villain, a little bit of a teaser there. It was an absolute joy. I am all in on what the Punisher is doing. I had mentioned that Punisher needs to go past 10 issues this time around. Someone on X disagreed, and I could see that. We'll talk about Iron Man next, but as good as this is compared to all the other garbage that Marvel is putting out, Punisher needs to go past 10. I think a lot of folks would really, really like this, and it could easily be one of the top-selling Marvel books. If not that, at least the top-selling Marvel books that people actually read. So Punisher, absolutely recommend. Go up and grab that. And then we got Iron Man number 2. This one is written by Joshua Williamson, illustrated by Carmen Cornero. And I really enjoyed this issue much more than the first issue. The first issue I thought was pretty good. This one I really enjoy. We start with a flashback, learn that Tony has hooked up, I guess, with Madame Mask. And that's how she gets the idea of the villainous plot that she's putting into motion in this arc here. Get a little bit of a banter between Iron Man and Captain America. And this is much sort of the dialogue that I prefer in my superhero books, where you've got these 2 guys putting up a fight against a C or D-list villain. It's such an easy fight. They're just conversing about something else, totally unrelated, disrespectful to the villain. But this is what I like. I will take this over coffee any day. So really good on that one. And then we get into kind of the what's the word I'm looking for? The overall kind of theme for what Joshua Williamson is doing, which I really, really like. And I'm kind of sad that no one else is really talking about it. So with Captain America, I think it's good that they have this dialogue here to compare the two. When someone wants to recreate Captain America, they try to recreate the super soldier serum, right? In fact, that's how the Hulk got made, right? A lot of times villains will try to recreate the happenstance of what created a hero. Well, in this one, it's kind of reminding us that Tony Stark, he thinks he was born himself in the cave, so to speak. And so he's like, I was Tony Stark before, but Iron Man was really born in that cave. And that's where Madame Mask got the idea of, well, if Iron Man, if his catalyst, I don't think that's the right word, but if his turning point was in the cave, then I'm going to kidnap the other smart people in the world and put them in the same situation as Tony Stark was, kidnapped in a cave with a box of scraps, and then let's see how they come out, and then maybe that gives us our own version of Iron Man. So I thought that was an interesting twist. I probably didn't explain it well, but I think it really, really works for Iron Man. So I really enjoyed issue 2. I'm much more excited for the series coming up. All right, Hulk Smashes Everything, number 3. This is by Ryan North and illustrated by Vincenzo Caratu. And man, I love this one. I'm a huge black hole nerd. I love physics. I took AP physics in high school just for the fun of it because my friends were there, and I loved it. Black holes, man, the physics breaking, everything about this is fantastic. And they go right into, like, they don't mince words. Hulk is being spaghettified here. You can see that little illustration here, and he's spaghettified all the way to the singularity. But what happens when the Hulk enters the singularity? Nothing is supposed to beat the Hulk. So how does the Hulk get out of it? I'm not going to share anything else about this issue because it was such a blast to read. And I love comic discussions where we're like, can Hulk survive a black hole? Because I think if Hulk fought Superman, that's kind of the only way that Superman can beat the Hulk is throw him into the sun, but then he'll probably get out. So throw him into a black hole. And that's exactly what happens in this issue. Wonderfully illustrated, great narration. This one is an absolute home run. Really, really enjoyed this. And there's a little bit of an Easter egg from a character that shows up. He showed up a little bit in the same context as a cameo in another Fantastic Four book that Ryan North did. But it was, when I literally turned the page, I was like, wow, nailed it. Absolutely loved it. This might actually be one of my top reads of the week. Hulk Smash Everything. Highly, highly recommend. All right, and then we got Infernal Hulk, number 4 by Philip Kennedy Johnson. 2 Hulk books in a week. It's crazy, but man, this one was really good too. Now, this one is really just all about the art. We have a lot more being conversed in the art, and this is a great example of sequential storytelling. This page, I didn't quite understand what was going on. I feel like we're getting a little bit of a yin and a yang. You know, you've got the Eternal Hulk, Infernal Hulk from the mother of whatever her name is. She's over here, and then you've got our Hulk, Bruce Banner Hulk, over here. It's kind of yin and yang, but also it's the golden ratio. You know, if you see that here, in the golden ratio in nature, Fibonacci's number, I think is what it is. I can quite understand why they chose that rather than just a general yin and yang. Other than it looks cool. But yeah, I thought that was great. And there's a beautiful feast for the eyes on this one. Nothing really happens here except we find out that maybe some of the Hulk psyches over the years, Incredible Hulk, Indomitable Hulk, Joe Fixit, a few of the other ones, like they're all kind of trapped in the Hulk's psyche, and they've all been siloed off, and now they kind of figure out that they can actually intermingle or communicate. I'm not sure what that's going to do in the future, but it was really interesting. It was definitely more of an art book, but again, it's done so well with just the right amount of dialogue from Philip Kennedy Johnson. Absolute joy to read. And then we got the finale here, Spider-Man and Wolverine, number 10. It's by Mark Guggenheim and illustrated by, Gerardo Sandoval. And, you know, it's not quite Carrie Andrews, but man, it is so close. The illustrations here is great. Gritty, rough around the edges art, and a really fantastic battle between Arachnics and Spider-Man, in which Wolverine comes in. There's some character development here with Wolverine and Mariko, which I have a very surface level knowledge of the two, but it was very interesting. And then there's a little bit of a cameo right there. I won't show that. But yeah, really great art, really wraps up nicely. So you can tell they definitely saw the runway closing. So it doesn't end abruptly. This will read great as a trade. Although I'll tell you this, some of the pages in here, I would not want to read as a trade because I want to lay them flat. And I think this will look a lot better. Something like this will look a lot better in a floppy format than flat. So, you know, I would say, you know, if you can get the singles, definitely get the singles. But Spider-Man and Wolverine was great. And then I also read Daredevil, The Man Without Fear. This one is by Stan Lee, and I can't remember who. Let me take a look who. I'm sorry, no, I got my wires crossed here. It says Stan Lee Presents, but this is actually written by Roger McKenzie, Frank Miller, and illustrated by Klaus Johnson. I don't know too much of the illustrated teams on these older books, but man, this was great. This really kind of like started off kind of crazy because you got this kid who's overdosing at the orphanage. And then kind of random, that was kind of a funny bubblegum ad to come right after that, after this kid jumps out a window. But it was kind of dark. You know, they talk about drugs. They talk about this kid, you know, being abused at home. I mean, this was really gritty. Like, I could tell this is exactly where sort of Netflix, when it was good, the Netflix Daredevil kind of got a lot of its inspiration. And then the Punisher shows up, and right away, their morality, they challenge each other. Punisher's like, I want to kill him. Daredevil's like, no, they got to face justice. I think it was really great the way they creatively did all the superpowers with Daredevil. And you just have to remember, like, none of this existed. This was all in someone's head. And I just think that's absolutely crazy that someone like imagined this and was able to make it happen on the page. So, classic, I wouldn't even say Silver Age, but classic art here. This was in the 80s. And man, it looks good. You got the different heartbeats here from Daredevil. Really, really enjoyed this one. And especially because I just read Punisher #1. This kind of really comes right after Punisher #1, because they talk about the prison escape that he did in that. So it was almost like reading them in publication order. That was a lot of fun to enjoy. And then we got the Incredible Hulk Volume 2 trade. This was awesome by Philip Kennedy Johnson, illustrated by Nick Klein. We get Ghost Rider here, and man, the Ghost Rider appearance was awesome. The Ghost Rider here was insane. I mean, look at this art. It looks so good. I don't know if this looks better with my ring light on or off, because my ring light can kind of give some glare. I feel like that's too dark. You tell me in the comments what looks better. Yeah, it looks so good, and the Ghost Rider character is really awesome. He's kind of like classic Ghost Rider, but he's a little bit of a newer character. He's basically protecting this kid at the RV park, and he definitely needs protecting. More ghastly, ghouly monster stuff happening, and then you get a little bit of not an epilogue, a backstory here. The New Orleans monster fight, like, that was fine. Then you get a backstory here of one of the elder gods or one of the demons or something like that. He's a war demon, and he just jumps from person to person in war. This was a surprisingly nice little story. So I'm wondering if this is coming up later. I've got Trade Volume 3, 4, and 5 to read. The good thing is I will be traveling, so I may take these trades. These are a little bit bulky to take. I'd rather take a compact comic, but if I think I can manage it, I will take these and continue to read this series, because it's been really, really good. So that's Marvel. Let me go ahead and give you a top 3, because there's enough books here that I could give you a top 3 easy, and that's definitely going to be Hulk Smash Everything, Punisher, and I'm actually going to say Iron Man over Spider-Man and Wolverine, although that was really good. So actually, surprisingly, number 3, Iron Man, number 2, Punisher, and number 1, Hulk Smash Everything. And I think this is definitely a personal number 1, but definitely I think you're going to enjoy this book. And on to DC, I got 11 books here. Like I said, it was a big week for me, and 2 big oversized books here. But let's jump into the Absolute books that I read. I read Absolute Martian Manhunter. This is number 9. I enjoyed this one. We're getting a lot of the family dynamics, and that is what really puts this series above and beyond. You got the kid playing with his parents as like toys here. Beautiful art as usual. We get this psychedelic metaphorical representation of them doing a vivisection on the Martian, and John's trying to figure out his home life. And he's got this depressive alien sticking around him, depressive Martian, blue Martian. And this is trippy. I get it. It's not everyone's tea, but man, I'm enjoying this one, and I'm really rooting for their relationship. There's some really kind of nasty stuff comes out. It's kind of heartbreaking, but I'm rooting for them at the end. I really don't want my heart to be broken with that one. So I enjoyed this one. Not too much happened. I know some people complain that it moves really slow. I get it, but at least it's an enjoyable slow cook with the beautiful art. Oh, and I forgot to mention this is by Dennis Camp and Javier Rodriguez. All right, then we got Absolute Wonder Woman. This is number 17 by Kelly Thompson and Hayden Sherman. And this one was a lot of fun. I was coming in kind of cool because I was like, I don't know what they're going to do. That or soiree, or are they just going to talk it out? Once again, Hayden Sherman, Wonder Woman, eyes, love it. And we find out that kind of Zatanna's kidnapped Wonder Woman, not for Kale, but to use her magic to help get this Starro thing out, Absolute Starro, which is absolute horrible, out of her. And then she just kind of nopes out of there, which leaves the rest of the Suicide Squad to fight Wonder Woman, and that fight was awesome because she really focuses on Giganta, and Giganta just keeps getting bigger, and so Diana keeps using her magic to get bigger, and eventually they have this giant kaiju battle. It was in the middle of the city. It kind of looked cheesy at first, but the more I read it, especially with Hayden Sherman's paneling, wow, really, really good. And look at this, that perspective, that's pretty cool. So really great read. Absolute Wonder Woman. I have a hard time, some weeks, oh, look at that. She's even getting the trade dress here. I love that when they reach out and interact with the trade dress. A lot of fun. One of the best Absolute books. I think Batman has a lot more wow moments, but this is more consistent throughout. Kelly Thompson is absolutely knocking it out of the park with that. All right, and then I like to read the DC KO tie-ins. So first, we actually read Justice League Unlimited tie-in. This is wrapping up the Terrific 10 arc. Kind of a beautiful art by Dan Mora, but the story itself is kind of just wrapping everything up. You got these battle on two fronts against Nero the Demon, and half of the characters you can barely tell what's going on. I mean, it's pretty cool, pretty trippy art. Overall, just kind of wrapped up. This was kind of a meh story. I could have done without it, especially because it was just a lot of characters I didn't really care for. Dan Mora still, though, drawing amazing character moments there. And I think that's the end of the We Are the Past, We Are Yesterday, whatever it was called, Time Display Superheroes. They all died super heroic. There's a little bit of a twist at the end. It gives you kind of a feel-good ending. But overall, it wasn't a letdown, but it wouldn't, I would say, required reading. But that was Justice League Unlimited by Mark Waid and Dan Mora. All right, on to The Flash, issue 30. This wraps up the Flash tie-in arc. And this one was a little bit more of a tie-in than Justice League Unlimited. Justice League Unlimited is really just kind of things that are happening while the tournament is going. This one actually has a little bit of a crossover with the tournament itself, more on the dark side. And really great art. This is written by Mark Waid and Christopher Cantwell, illustrated by Georgiev. I can't remember the first name. It's probably in the back. Vasco Georgiev. Great art in this. And I don't know too much about the Flash family, especially Impulse, but there's enough dripped in here from Mark Waid that I didn't feel lost. I know now that Impulse is like basically is the Speed Force, and so they are trying to trick Impulse into dying, so the Speed Force dies. Then they got to get out of it. There's a lot of great moments in here with characters that, even though I don't know exactly who they are, I never felt lost. So that was really well written by Mark Waid. Art was great in this, and yeah, overall it was a really kind of heartwarming book that had a lot of implications here, a lot of timey-wimey stuff, which is right up my alley. So the Flash issue 30 I really liked, and the whole arc itself I think is a good tie-in. Like, this is one that I would want to read alongside the main event. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one. All right, and then we've got Superman. This is the tie-in number 35 by Joshua Williamson and Eddie Burrows. And this one, again, is a wonderful tie. Very cool, very gorgeous art here. I was getting a little cool on this series because it was more of, like I mentioned, Justice League Unlimited. It's just stuff that Lois is doing while Superman's in the tournament. Then Superboy shows up. Then he gets this robot Superman. But really what this is kind of setting up Time Trapper for the end at DCKO. Why does he need to get involved with DCKO? Well, he's kind of been involved with this ever since this whole Williamson arc started, when he came in and was like, hey, I need you to kill me so I become Ultimate. Otherwise, you're going to have these problems. And of course, Superman said no. And so now they're dealing with all this problems. So Doomsday, Time Trapper, Time Trapper. I have a lot to do here. Beautiful art. Love the paneling here. The faces are crazy. It was really good, really enjoyable. Superman 35, I highly recommend. And the whole arc tying into DCKO, a little slow to start, but wow, it finished great. And as you can see, there's the Doomsday. Time Trapper played a good role in this. All right, moving right along, we've got DC Vertigo, The Peril of Brutal Dark. This is by Chris Condon and Jacob Phillips. Really awesome noir art here. Some of the action decisions were a little wonky, and I'm not sure if that was just me or some of the miscommunications in the way the art was. I felt like this little intro scene was great, but once we get into the intro with Ezra Kane in the action scene, some of the paneling just didn't go too well one after the other. I had a hard time tracking who was who, and where they were and what they were doing. The Copper is like, this guy yells out, drop the case, Copper, and couldn't figure out if that was Ezra Kane yelling it or someone else. But overall, once I got to the end and we kind of see kind of the big picture of where everything is going, I kind of liked it. And actually on my second reading or second flip through, I liked it even more. So I think this has some promise. It's not as strong of a start as I thought it would be, but overall, I think I really enjoyed it. And Ezra Kane, don't know too much about him as a character, but I think it was really worked out really well. Kind of gave me Human Target vibes, which we'll also talk about a little bit later. So Peril of the Brutal Dark, I think it was good. I think this is going to be more of a trade read, but still, I'm in it to win it, so to speak. The Batman Second Night, Book 3. And man, Dan Jurgens is just writes some amazing Great Depression era 1920s Batman, and Mike Perkins, accompanied by Mike Spicer. oh man, beautiful art here. You get a little bit of a Batman versus Superman moment here where Superman tries to interrupt Batman, and so Batman has to get away. Everything here is brutal, gritty. Scarecrow illusions are on point, and yeah, it was just really good with a little bit of a twist at the end with who the main bad guy is or his motive. And then we get a little bit of a teaser of the future of this 1920s Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent interacting. Kent and Lois really do their job well as just guest appearances or cameos. The rabbi ended up being a little bit more justified being in this story, but I don't know. It was kind of still a little kind of forced the way they did it. But overall, beautiful snowy landscapes here. Overall, this was absolutely a wonderful read. Once again, knocked it out of the park. These books are awesome and proves that Dan Jurgens is one of the best writers for these superheroes. Awesome. Moving right along, we've got Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong, Volume 2, Issue 7. I think I do something about this numbering here. This is by Brian Bucoletto and Christian Deuce, and this series, I think it does. I think that one of the things that is making it hard for me to read is it's monthly, and I read Volume 1 as a trade. It definitely does read better as a trade. Monthly, you kind of forget who the characters are or where all the monsters were. But in this one, it didn't really matter because you kind of know what sides the monsters are based on who they're fighting and how they're fighting. And this was just dumb fun, the comic. And I had so much dumb fun and in the best way possible. Just giant monsters fighting, Green Lanterns drawn up, giant kaiju, Green Lantern images. What do you call those? It's at the tip of my tongue. Anyways, yeah, so really good, really fantastic read here. And I'm sorry, I don't have the best vocabulary. I'm not a reviewer. That's why we're just talking about these books. Look at this. Look at this panel here. Absolutely gorgeous. You got giant cheetah here trying to eat Kong. You've got the Green Lantern here. He's summoning Parallax to fight the kaijus. You got giant Superman and Wonder Woman fighting alongside Godzilla to fight, what's his name? Something Dawn. Yeah, just a lot of fun. And I had a blast. Now, I think it did wrap up a little quickly because one of the things that I like is that these kaiju fights are happening in the context of human relationships. Something's happening with the people and they get interrupted by these giant monster fights. Well, they never return to the human side of the story. They just fight the kaijus. Everything's resolved at the end. And then that's it. That's the book. Like, we never returned to, I think it was Barry Allen getting married or something like that. There was something going on that was interrupting their plans. And I think Superman and Lois were in Paris celebrating something. Anyways, it was a good book. It was a fun read. But yeah, I kind of wish we had another issue. Ironically, like I thought last month, like I was thinking they should have ended this at issue 6. We got one more issue. This was awesome. And I'm kind of like, I wish they had one more issue to wrap up all the human stuff. But overall, still a fun read. I definitely would recommend the trade though, because I think it'll read better as a trade. Moving right along, we've got Green Lantern number 32, and this one I was a little torn on when I read it, but I'm actually, the more I think about it, the more I'm enjoying it. This is by Jeremy Adams, illustrated by Montos. Don't know if that's a one-name person or if that's just I don't know, but illustrated by Montos. And it's more of an indie style of read here because we've got much more softer there. Sometimes the coloring and the penciling doesn't match up, like this around her mouth just didn't line up too perfectly for me. But then other moments, like where she gets a red dress and she wears it and she shows it off. I mean, yeah, she wears it nicely. Like, you get these little panels here of his face expressions. It's not everyone's cup of tea, and it's definitely not mainline DC kind of art style, house style. But it works. It works for the moment of that they're just trying to have this reprieve of a date and in Paris. And it's something that, obviously these heroes don't get to share a lot of. And then they get interrupted by a bad guy. The way they take her down is kind of nice. But then you find out there's a little bit like this right here. Like, look at that face. Like, that's not normal DC house style, but it's really good. I really like that. It works. Then you get Carol flipping out because she finds out why they were having this date in Paris and it's been ruined, and she is very not happy with this bad guy. But then also something happens where we learn that maybe the power of love that the Starfire carries is not the full power. And we learn that it's actually fractured into 8 parts. If you go to church, you may know the different types of love in Greek: eros, agape, Philadelphia, or whatever. We learned that there are different, same thing, there's different kinds of love with the Star Sapphire spectrum. And so now Carol's kind of called along her own adventure, and Hal kind of ends it. He kind of passes the torch over to Raynor, and I kind of forgot why. Like, I think he's going to go figure out something, but it was a little bit of, I must go, my planet needs me. And he just leaves Kyle to protect Earth. So I don't know. It's kind of a sudden ending, but it was still an enjoyable read. Out of this arc, I think this is definitely my favorite issue. I thought it was really good, and we got Green Lantern 600 next month, so I'm excited for that. I hope I get the 1 in 25 variant with Hal and Carol on, because I think that would be awesome. All right, just a couple more books here. Now we get to the facsimiles that I like to read, and this is Action Comics number 419, story by Carrie Bates and Julie Schwartz on the Superman side. It's your typical Golden Age or Silver Age Superman. This one, he is going to space, and then when he comes back, there's some shenanigans, and they find out that the telescope they put into space is causing some issues in town, and Superman has to figure it out. It's campy, it's wonky, but what really is I think the reason for the facsimile is this is the first story of the Human Target, and I just have a very, I wouldn't even say surface level. I'm just barely aware of what the Human Target is. I've heard both things about Tom King's Human Target, that it was pretty good, and also heard it was just not bad or not good. So I don't know. I've heard both things, but this was an interesting one. Very well timed to be coming alongside as the Ezra Cain book from Vertigo, because they kind of have a lot of the same moments or same type of storytelling with the mystery. But I thought this was good. This was a great first appearance. I can definitely tell why people were turned on to this kind of story, because he's a very interesting character, and I really liked it. So good action, interesting intrigue, and I'm glad I read it. I thought it was a good read here. And then we got this big boy, this Treasury edition. I'm already all the way zoomed out on my phone recording this, but we've got some villain origin stories. And so we've got the Joker, we've got Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor one, that was the most disappointed. Like, I know Lex Luthor knew Clark Kent in Superboy when he was growing up, but I don't know. That one I just didn't care for. Captain Cold, same way. It was kind of campy. It was all right. But we get him up against the Flash. Then we had, I don't remember this guy's name, but Shazam's arch nemesis. I don't know anything about Shazam. I would like to. That one was okay. That was kind of cute. It definitely was a young boys power fantasy type story, where he gets the girl and he gets the bad guy and he can drive cool cars. I thought this was interesting. We get the origin of Terra Man, which I was vaguely, I don't even know if I knew about him. If I did, it was like on a very, like almost like a name level. But you get this introduction of Terra Man, who was kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy movie. His dad is accidentally killed by an alien, so the alien decides to adopt him and take him to space, and so he basically wrangles and rides with this space thief. And I was kind of hoping for a Wonder Woman Cheetah origin story, but we got this instead, and that's okay, because it was kind of like cowboys and aliens, so it worked for me, so I really enjoyed that one. I know a lot of people at the LCS were hyped for this. Definitely wasn't my favorite Treasury-sized reprint. I've enjoyed other ones much more than this one, but it was still good. If you like to read the classics and have them all collected here in a large Treasury size, it's still worth it. This one, just for me, didn't really hit that great. So top 3 books for me, it's gonna be another one that's gonna be hard to choose, because I enjoyed Superman, I enjoyed Green Lantern. Flash was pretty good, but I don't think it was top 3 worthy. Absolute Wonder Woman, I think, was. And Absolute Martian Manhunter, I really enjoyed it. Oh, man, this is going to be tough. I think I'm actually going to say, in this order, Green Lantern, Superman 35, Green Lantern, what is that, 32? Superman 35, and Absolute Wonder Woman 17. And if I have to pick a top 3 across all the lines, I'm actually going to drop Green Lantern, and I'm going to replace it with Hulk Smash Everything. And you know what? I think I'm going to drop Superman and replace him with the Punisher. And I would probably put Absolute Wonder Woman. This is okay, so here you go. Total top 3. You're going to call me crazy. Absolute Wonder Woman, number 3. Punisher, 1. Number 2, second place. And Hulk Smash Everything. This was my favorite book of the week. I mean, you like what you like, right? This was really good. Just, again, Hulk versus a black hole. Loved it. I loved every second of it. There you go. That's my top 3. So there you have it. All of these books, and I cannot believe it. The Hulk Smash Everything. Ryan North. absolutely crushed it out of the park. And look, I'm the only one that this is going to be my favorite read of the week because there are so many great things that came out. Iron Man, Superman, The Punisher even. But me personally, look, you like what you like. And I don't care what anyone says. This is a great book. I'm really, really enjoying it. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Your time and attention mean the world to me. Subscribe for more comic talks. I'm going to do indies next, as well as share what I get at the comic shop on Wednesday. Thank you for your time and attention again, and I'll see you all in the next one. Adios.